Hey guys, it's me, MavicJack24 here, and today I'm here with the 2 monthly videos of OverSimplified. And in that case, we are looking at one of the most hated men in history's life, Oversimplified. And also, please do stay inside, and please stay safe under a secure quarantine, because, as we all know, the spread of COVID-19 is seriously dangerous, and please stay inside, and please keep you and your family members safe from it. And also, and now, before I start this reaction, I'm just going to have to remind everyone that all the animation and all this video rights belongs to Oversimplified, and that's pretty much it. Anyways, let's begin. Sorry. Yeah, this would be enough. Yeah, I'm less prepared today than I usually am, but let's see.
Look at this baby. So gentle, so innocent. You'd think this child would grow up to become a good...
Believe it or not, I actually know that baby, and it's at 8. And you do know who he's gonna become next. Well, 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 he did do the goose step. He definitely did. And he's the main star of the video. Say hello to the warning of the the most hated man in history.
An honest man. Well, think again.
Yes, good warnings.
Hitler was born Adolphus Hitler in 1880.
Wait. His full name is Adolphus?
Adolphus Hitler in 1880.
Alright, so pretty much he's got a little...
Hitler. 18...
Alright, so pretty much that he's talking about where Hitler was born, which was Austria. Which honestly was at the time for the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, which was pretty huge, but once again, sort of like the Holy Roman Empire, tiny mess of different countries. And I do like on how he says more like a doofus. I sort of find that, but pretty funny. But in all seriousness, he was a feared man, a powerful man, and he scared the hell out of most people. But that isn't, well. Let's see.
In a small town in Austria-Hungary. His father, Alois Schicklgruber, was born out of wedlock, but eventually changed his name to that of his stepfather, becoming Alois Hitler.
So we can blame Alois for giving Hitler a bad name, but granted, it wasn't bad at the time, and it was actually highly praised, but still, it isn't now.
Mid-level Austrian customs officer, not really rolling in cash, but certainly rolling in women. He married a rich, older lady, but then immediately started having affairs, including one with a much younger house servant. A few years later, he left his sick wife to be with his mistress, but since the Catholic Church didn't allow divorce at the time, he couldn't marry her. So he waited for his old wife to die and had a child in the meantime. Then his wife died, so he married his mistress and had another child. But then his new wife got sick, so he employed his much younger cousin
What? He's marrying his cousin? Wow, that is sad. That is sad and scary.
To take care of her. Then when his new wife died, he immediately got Clara, his cousin, pregnant, and then married her.
Wait, let me check. Alright. Oh, it's not a blood relative cousin. Oh, thank God, because if it was a blood relative cousin, then that would have been a slight chance that she could have been a blood relative cousin, but...
Pregnant, and then married her. In that order, you rock star. Clara and Alois had 3 children together, who all tragically died while in infancy. So when the 4th child, Adolf, came along, Clara spoiled him rotten. The Hitlers had 2 more kids, and the family moved around a few times, meaning Adolf had to...
Wow.
5 different elementary schools.
Well, at least there's 2 good things. Alright, so, as...
few times.
Alright, so as you can see, the clear line here, and through this area where that they live in, live in. As part Austria does speak German. German, granted that since they are on the border parts near of Austria and Germany, that this would have been where Hitler would have spoke more in would have kept in the German language, so it wouldn't have really affected like his learning on like pronunciation and stuff. I mean, yes, there might be a tiny bit of an accent, but not really. Really, like it's hard to
Adolf
learn.
had to attend 5 different elementary schools. Adolf's father was strict, quick to anger, and took most of it out on the eldest son until he had enough and ran away at the age of 14, leaving 7-year-old Adolf to do most of the chores and get berated by his father.
All right, and all right, very good job, father. And also, why does Hitler have a mustache when he's only 7? Like I know he did it in real life. I mean that mustache style didn't came after after the fall night of the long knives, but in all reality, he did that for the beer march and that beer hall march, and that didn't work.
The result was a difficult relationship with his dad while he was super attached to his mother, who worried over him and his health excessively. Hitler did well in school at first. His grades were good and his teachers praised him. He was popular with the other kids and enjoyed gathering them together to play war games.
Oh, I wonder if this had any effect later in his life.
He also loved reading and particularly liked stories.
Oh wow, this is pretty much what he would want to hear, and any KKK member would want to hear. Here.
Cowboys and Indians. As he grew older, though, he started to get into trouble. He was caught smoking once, organized a raid on a local orchard, tormented his pro Austria religion teacher with symbolic gestures, displaying his allegiance.
Yeah. All right. So as I clearly remember, this time Germany did not have that flag during that time. I mean that is clearly either West or East Germany. I don't know which one had which flag, but I do know that this is the modern German flag. You know, the flag at the time looked slightly different, but still kept in the same black and red. But, but
The idea of united Germanic people under a greater German state and defined.
well, I mean, he did place that one into effect later but it was mainly Austria that got it.
Habsburg Austria, you know, the usual. All of this enraged Adolf's father, who punished him severely. The area of Austria-Hungary that Hitler lived in was once part of the German Confederation, and many of the people who lived there considered themselves to be German. Adolf tended to just go against whatever his father said, and since his father was an Austrian public official, Hitler got big into German nationalism.
Alright, so let's see. If his father was a German supporter, then that would mean he would have been an Austria supporter, which that means he could have probably stopped Hitler's rise to power by one action. And if that were and if that was it, then wow, history would play out differently.
This enraged Adolf's father, who punished him severely. Around this time, a family tragedy struck. His 6-year-old brother, whom he loved a lot, died of measles when Adolf was 10, and was buried in the cemetery just across from there.
And this is where you start to see Hitler's psychotic side start to kick in as noted in history. This is where some of the turning points in Hitler's smart academic and education starts to go weird. This is where he starts to go on the route where he is where where it leads him eventually to that bunker, but at least it gets us closer to watching him in that bunker.
Around this time, neighbors reported a change in the young boy. Strange behaviors such as talking to trees and staying up late staring at the stars from the cemetery.
I mean, talking to trees is not that weird. J.R. Tolkien used to do it, but that was mainly through a sign of suggestive looks in more of a mind way. It is explained later, but it is weird like talking trees out in normal English, out in normal, which is sad. Like I understand what he's going through. He's going through a stage of depression, but really, this is how you turn a person into slightly psychotic madman.
He lost interest in religion, and his school grades started to decline, which enraged his father, who punished him severely.
Well, that is good. Keep punishing severely. I'm pretty sure that would work out.
Which enraged his father, who punished him severely. It also didn't help that he had just entered high school, and the cool city boys treated him like a rural peasant. He had to repeat a grade and had little interest in most school subjects.
Ooh, social Darwinism. Oh, yeah, that does not seem that good. No, that's just essentially racism. Oh, yeah, people that are just better than others. Yeah, that's just racism.
Instead, spending his time reading and drawing, which he was quite good at.
I'm pretty sure that's not how you spell giraffe.
One day his father said, "Son, someday you'll be a big balls public official like me." And Adolf
And I believe that would be true, except not in Austria.
replied, "No, father. I'm going to become an artist and soar high above the clouds with the eagles." This enraged
Unfortunately for you, that won't be true. Won't be true. You never would soar above the sky.
his father, but by this time he was an old ass man, so he just sort of let it go, and then died of a lung hemorrhage. Hitler just about passed his final semester and celebrated in the typical way by getting blackout drunk and wiping his ass with the certificate.
That is actually true. I've actually studied that, which was disgusting, and I'm not sure why my history teacher made me do that. Well, I'm pretty sure at that point he was annoyed at me, so fair point.
However, he didn't take the overall final school exam. Instead,
Oh yeah. Oh wait, hold on. Oh yeah, it's funny. That the question here would be, by the way, has anyone seen Adolf? Wait, yeah, that says, has anyone seen Adolf? Which doesn't make sense.
dropping out. The now 16-year-old boy was unemployed, without much purpose in life, and for the next 3 years he stayed that way. He spent most of his time at the opera with his only friend, August Kubizek. Kubizek later wrote his memories of the young Hitler and said he was passionately interested in many things, felt he was in many ways better than others his age.
Wow, that's pretty much something that he would carry on later in his life
Quick to
until his
anger
death.
just like his father, and an incredible speaker once he was ranting. When he was 18, he said a very sad goodbye to his mother and went to Vienna to take the entrance exam for art school.
Vienna, that is the capital of Austria. It happens to be the place where, unfortunately, you see where Hitler got more of his ideas on anti-Semitism and on how he pretty much just saw like the Jews taking over. It's sad. It's sad for him to think that, even though that's not really true. True. He just increased the stereotype up to its power, and he became more racist.
Failed. Soon after, he had to return home. His mother was sick, and her health was rapidly deteriorating. Hitler stayed by her side, and when she eventually died, the family doctor said he had never seen someone so overwhelmed with grief as Hitler was. Then Hitler returned to Vienna, still hoping to find a career in the arts, but he never did. Instead, without parental support, Hitler ended up on the streets. Now in his early 20s, he spent a few rough years living in and out of homeless shelters, making what
This really is amazing. You see, one of the most scary feared members of all time, and you see that he's actually homeless for a good portion of his life. Then that makes you wonder, doesn't it, on how he actually got there in the first place.
he could from selling postcards he painted. It's hard to pinpoint exactly when and how Hitler's extreme ideological beliefs formed, but his time in Vienna would have certainly played a role. Anti
It
Semitism
definitely
was
did.
widespread in the city. The mayor, whom Hitler supported, was an outspoken anti Semite. There were many right wing anti Semitic newsletters, which Hitler took a keen interest in. He bought into the conspiracy theories and became a firm believer in the idea that there are many races in constant struggle with one another, the purest of which were the German Aryan people, and the worst of which, he believed, were Jews.
And unfortunately, that trait happened to carry over. Carry over. It is really, really sad. Sad that he got stuck in a conspiracy theory, believed that most of his life. That eventually led to the downfall of what he believed was the greatest thing that he's ever done to Germany. But no, he more just doomed Germany to a place where or they can't really be proud and celebrate their nationality, or else every major superpower would just act like Germany's about to do something again.
Since Austria-Hungary was a multi-ethnic empire full of
Yeah, this is right here. This would be the area of Czechoslovakia, right around here. This is the bottom of the Poland. This is the good portion of some part of what would later be known as Ukraine. But for now, we see no, not the Baltics. No, yeah, the southern Slavs being here, on which the Italians got that part back, and they managed to also get more stuff. But in all seriousness, pretty much this is where Hungary formed, and that's pretty much Romania. But due to a thing, the Hungarians just took away Transylvania from Romania, which later was given back to Romania.
lesser races, Hitler wasn't a fan. So when he was 24, he moved to Munich in Germany to avoid doing military service, and for one more year he was a drifter on the streets, until something huge happened. In 1914, long-standing tensions in Europe erupted into the First World War.
Oh yeah, that is definitely war at its best, and by best I mean worst.
Crowds across Europe celebrated the news. Within days, Hitler volunteered for the German army. The war gave him a purpose in life. His fellow soldiers gave him friendship and brotherhood. Despite the horrors of war, Hitler considered it to be the best time of his life. He was
Wait a minute.
Despite the
He had a full mustache, and he decided to ruin Charlie Chaplin's mustache with the toothbrush mustache being commonly associated that's what Hitler had. It's a shame. It's a shame.
of war, Hitler considered it to be the best time of his life. He was reportedly a brave soldier and was awarded the Iron Cross, first class.
Fun fact: he actually never took that off from that day, and he kept it on.
He was also very lucky and had many close encounters with death. His luck ran out in 1916, however, when an artillery shell injured his leg.
Unfortunately for us, it did not cripple him.
He went back to Germany to recover and was outraged to find a general apathetic anti-war attitude among the exhausted and hungry German populace. With the war turning against Germany, he returned to the front lines, but was temporarily blinded by a British gas attack in 1918.
And also during 1918, this is where supposedly, I forget the man's name. It's a British man who Hitler did have a portrait and he more just likely said that a British soldier actually let couple Germans go after a successful art trench attack where the Germans had to flee, and he did have Hitler right in his crossfire. And the man did later tell everyone that if he knew who Hitler was going to be like when he was older, he would have definitely taken the shot. But no, instead his humanity showed in and allowed Hitler to live, which eventually actually created more of a deadlier conflict.
Later, still recovering in hospital, Hitler learned of Germany's defeat and surrender. The terms of the peace treaty were tough on Germany. It had to pay a lot of money and lose a lot of soldiers. These conditions weakened Germany and humiliated the German people.
And now, pretty much what this happened was a very strong moment in Hitler's life. See, when Hitler learned about the basically when he learned that Germany lost World War I, he was absolutely angry. And like he for a little while he more went emotionally blind where some psychiatrists tried to use hypnosis to help him. In total, they just made him more believe that he was some destined great savior of Germany, which, as we all know, that was rather unfortunately not true.
Europe's borders changed after the war too. New countries were formed out of Russia's lost.
Yeah, that it. No, I mean Finland was technically already there. already there, but it just had a similar history to Israel, where it was there, got taken over, never really had a chance to get freedom because it always gotten taken over. But for the most part, it was still a Nordic country. Estonia is a Baltic country. We'll get to that conflict later.
Austria-Hungary was dissolved, and there was one big new country splitting Germany into two.
Well, not a new country. Poland technically been around, with Lithuania, on longer. They formed the Polish and Lithuanian Commonwealth, and then Frederick the Great, after the 7 Years' War, he pretty much chopped Poland up with Catherine the Great, right? And pretty much they just took and wiped out Poland.
Hitler, seeing the country he loved humiliated like this, said that hatred grew in him for those responsible, by which he meant communists and Jews, who he
Well, I don't blame the communists. Is at the time Germany, I believe, was a social republic, and they were socialists, but I'm pretty sure his anti-Semitics got him more into Jews.
believed had stabbed Germany in the back by
Also, for Germany stabbing in the back and by spreading disease and anti-war propaganda back over. Oh yeah, that is definitely, yeah. Those are some of the major factors on why he is known as what he is today.
dissent and anti-war propaganda back home.
And I will get to that later, but you would have to wait until the end of April, near the end of April, to hear about it. As for now, I'm just gonna be staying safe. Make sure to stay home and stay safe. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to please leave a like, and please go and subscribe to Oversimplified. And also make sure to please stay back in your homes. Please help stop the spread of COVID-19. Please do, for the lives of millions of people, or maybe even billions. Billions. Please stay in your homes under some form of quarantine. Anyways, goodbye.